Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Haven't seen you guys for a few minutes. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming in. Again, this is Karen Yates, your wonderful host at Houston Score. We love to welcome you guys into the room and have you come in. We have a wonderful presenter. Today, we are partnering again with our lovely HCC. HCC love to bring us content that you guys love. They love to share information. They have some really awesome presenters. So today we have someone who's going to talk to you. But before I tell you about that, I've got to tell you about SCORE. So Houston SCORE is part of SCORE.org, which is a nationwide volunteer group. And we've been around for over 50 years. And what we do is we're a resource partner with the Small Business Administration, and we provide counseling to America's small businesses. We've helped over 11,000 businesses over the years within around our 320 chapters around the country. And what we do is we help you with, business mentoring, coaching. We have subject matter experts, ex-professionals and business people who volunteer their time to offer these services for you for free. So again, we're here. We're wanting to just open up this room and invite you into another session where we are hoping that this would help you in your business. We know it will, as a matter of fact. So please go to houston.score.org if you're interested in getting a mentor, if you're interested in getting some information. We have a large library with wonderful resources there for you. And you could also select on the next upcoming webinar or workshop that we have. So today I will go ahead and I'm going to turn you over to Amanda and Ravi first. He's from HCC, and Ravi will tell you a little bit about what we're going to do today, and then he'll put you on to Amanda. So thank you guys. And I'll just sit back until I come back on. So see you guys in a little bit. Have a good day.
Thanks, Karen. We certainly appreciate the partnership we have with SCORE. Hi, everybody. My name is Ravi Brahmat. I'm at Houston Community College. I'm the Director for Student Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and it's my pleasure to introduce to all of you Amanda Materre, author of Full Disclosure, for discussions about the writing process, revision, editing, brand development, and marketing your print ebooks and your print books and ebooks, as well as workbooks. Amanda is a former student of our program at HCC. I call her my change maker, my student entrepreneur. She has worked with our office in helping other people learn about branding and marketing and leadership. And she's gone through a couple of startups herself with the help of her mentors at HCC. So I am extremely proud that since her departure from HCC, she's also gained a lot of accords and has found herself in the education space. I'm extremely honored and excited to invite, ask Amanda to share her lessons in her process in writing her book, as well as in her lessons of brand development. I'm truly very interested in learning this myself. So Amanda, thank you for making the time for all of us. And from HCC, from SCORE, thanks for sharing your knowledge. That's what SCORE is all about. So thanks for agreeing to help us. So Amanda, take it away when you're ready.
Well, good morning, everyone. I know that this subject matter is not always the funnest, but we are going to make it, exciting and engaging as possible. A special thank you to Mr. Ravi, HCC, for giving me my foundation. As he jokes all the time that, it's no big deal, but it really is. HCC is a great starting point for a lot of different people. And I've been there, a few times, to kind of help reset and become better. And every time I've grown. So thank you to HCC. Also, thank you to SCORE for the opportunity to teach publishing content in digital media or a digital world with you guys today. All right. So in your chat box, I have dropped a pair deck. And I'm going to start sharing my screen with you guys now. I'm not going to take up too much of your time because I want you guys to have time to ask questions and, really engage with me. You guys have questions throughout this presentation. So that way I'm going to be planting seeds, as I say, to help you guys think about, how you want to publish your works moving forward. So I'm going to give you guys about a minute or two to kind of log on here. I want to make sure I'm not leaving anybody behind. Let's see. All right, 2 students are connected. And this should just be fairly easy to click the link, and I'll send it again just in case. I've been teaching virtually, so I completely understand it. All right, let's see. Let's do one more time. All right, and for the purposes of today, I like to call myself your publishing engineer because we're going to go through the entire publishing process, your thoughts, your ideas, the writing process, and kind of give you guys the framework. Starting with the mindset, I always like to start inside and work my way out. So that way you guys will have the right foundation when you guys are writing your publications, whatever they may be. All righty, so let's continue on. You guys can jump on at any time. It does go at the instructor's pace. So I also will be giving you guys a Padlet to ask me questions after the fact. You have Google Classroom as well. So that way, after this, this will be a resource for you moving forward. And we'll talk about the importance of having resources as you are publishing your media or your print works. So meet your instructor, yours truly, Amanda Materre. I'm a proud native Houstonian. I'm an educator, people builder, author, queen of vulnerability, self-proclaimed, innovator, and currently I'm a doctoral student and a principal intern at Walden University for my doctorate degree, and then Lamar University for my principal internship. And there's a picture of my book that I published right there. So first things first, I want to start off with what is your why? I attended a symposium in 2018 with HCC, and I was one of the panelists there. But I always, since that time, have started anything that I've ever done with asking myself, what is my why? And the reason why I ask myself, what is your why, is because I anchor myself in my passion. I try to make sure that, my motives are pure and clear, because when things get difficult, you need to make sure that you're rooted in that passion to keep you going. And writing and publishing, life itself, is a marathon. It's a journey. It's not a quick sprint. So if you don't have the right mindset, if you don't have the right framework, the foundation, it's not going to last. So you want to create something that is long lasting and make sure that you're in the right space, mentally, physically, spiritually, in order to make sure that you get this done and see it to fruition. All righty. So I'll give you guys a couple, maybe a minute or two to kind of write down some thoughts. What is your why? And don't worry, this will be available after the fact. So if you wanted to come back and actually answer what is your why, sometimes it does take the presentation and then after that in order for you guys to find that answer. So I'll give you guys about 60 seconds to kind of put your thoughts out there. And I know some people may be going, that's a great question. And you might use all of those 60 seconds just to kind of think about things, but that's totally okay too. And for this one, I'm not going to show the responses. I'm going to kind of let you guys just kind of keep that as a mental note. All righty. So I'll wait a little bit longer. see. All righty. All right, let's move forward. So today's objectives, the participant will be able to identify the different types of publications and choose the one that best suits them, understand the writing process and map out the framework of their publication using the writing roadmap, identify what channels are appropriate for your marketing publication, learn the process of self-publishing, including revision, editing, and formatting, and then understanding the financial aspect of being an author, for example, royalties, setting your publication price, and marketing. Hence why we started off with your why. Okay, so let us continue. What do you hope to gain from this workshop? Although it's awesome to have you guys join me this morning, you have a reason for being here. And what is that reason? As you answer the question, what is your why? Now you are answering the question, what do you hope to gain from this workshop? What are you looking for? What are some of the answers that you have been waiting to ask but haven't? You know, how can I meet those needs and support you throughout this workshop? Let's see. And like I said, again, you know, this may be answered right now. This may be answered later on. So take your time. Please don't feel pressured. I always like to create different thought-provoking questions throughout presentations to give people something to think about. I always say, like, at the end of the day, you want to create something that, or say something or that resonates that that person's going to think about before they go to bed at night, that they may share with a friend, with a significant other, and you want to make sure that you're a lasting thought on that person's mind with what you say. That doesn't mean to add any pressure. That's just being, you know, authentic in you and your purpose, and you know, sharing your expertise and your gifts with the world, which is really what this workshop is all about, and how to get that done. All right, I have 1 out of 2 responses. Awesome. Like I said, I'm not going to share it out. I want to give you guys that time to, you know, think to yourselves and get your ideas out there. So that's fine. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, I'll give you guys 1 more minute. As an educator, I'm learning about wait time, giving people time to think and put their ideas out there. It's not easy because, you know, you're taught that when things are quiet, you know, that's not always the best thing in the world, but sometimes people need that time to think. All right, let's move on. Okay, so let me do that. All righty. Throughout this process, you guys are a key holder, whether you know it or not. Oh, and I'm sorry, guys. I see it in the chat box now. Okay, cool, 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 cool. I'm so sorry. I didn't think to check the chat box. Learn new strategies to implement when publishing a book. Awesome. And just more information on the concept in general. Cool, cool, cool. All right. So as you guys are publishing anything, if you guys have an expertise, which we all do, we have our niche, we have that our jam, which is what I call our jam, is the thing we're good at. You know what I mean? And some people have several gifts, some people have few. It just depends about, you know, the gifts that you have and how you use them. Publishing your work is one of the best ways to share your ideas with the world. You become a key holder. A key holder is someone who has the expertise and ability to unlock different ideas, concepts, characteristics, traits in other people. We all have our own keys that we are able to give to others, and our keys are, you know, individual in itself. There's some things that I might be able to say, and I can teach you one thing, and it doesn't discount my ability or my expertise, but there's something that someone else has. If they teach it to you a different way, you're going to perceive it differently. So that's why I mean you're a key holder. Okay. So you hold something that other people need, and you're going to publish it and share it with the world. So you are a key holder. I'm giving you guys this kind of prompt to empower you. All righty. Also, thank you, Carolyn, saying that you want to develop a strategic plan for digital publishing. Cool, cool. Awesome. All right, let's continue. So types of publications. There are several types of publications, and as time passes, more and more are added, especially those that are niche specific. So all that to say, if you don't see the type of publication that you want and it doesn't fit you to a T, that's fine. It's okay to create your own publication based off of your needs. So you guys have the traditional book, you have the audiobook, ebooks, supplemental resources, newsletters, blogs, podcasts. These are all different kinds of publications that you can use. And when we talk about creating content for digital media, understand that you want something that someone can easily take with them on the go. We're going to talk about how important it is to have visibility when you guys are publishing different content. For example, let's see. I'll wait for that one. We'll work on that in a second. So what type of work are you interested in publishing? If you're not sure yet, that is okay too. So I gave you guys a whole list, but if you say, that's not really, it's kind of what I want, but not really. Or some people may say that's exactly what I want. And I know that's what I want to do. And so now I'm trying to figure out how to get that done. So take some time to think about what type of book you want to, what type of work, what type of work you're interested in publishing. And Janice, okay, ebook, awesome. We're definitely going to talk about that. So in the next upcoming slides, I'm going to dissect each of those publications with their strengths, their different attributes, and also some things that you need to consider when you are publishing these books. All right. So again, I'll give you a minute to kind of get your thoughts together. Okay. Alrighty, and I am checking the chat box more often now, guys. Love this ebook. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, cool. All right. I figured a lot of people would lean to ebook. I did. And I actually do have an ebook version of my book, and we're going to talk more about my process and why I chose the different types of publications that I did. So let's continue. All right, so type of publications. Let's talk about the traditional book. We're talking paperback. We're talking hardcovers. Now, everyone still loves to sit down and cuddle up with a great book, despite the digital book platforms like Apple Books, Kindle Unlimited. Traditional books work because they're tangible. I can feel it. I can see it. If I have it on my nightstand, even if I never open, or if I've only read 2 or 3 pages, think about the people who come to your house. You have your family members, you have your friends, significant others, and those people can see that same book that you guys have out there. So you'd be surprised about, oh, such and such was reading this book, or I saw that on their nightstand, or I saw that, on their coffee table. I wonder what that book's all about, and maybe picked it up, looked at it, just in regular conversation, and that's marketing in itself. So think about, that's something to think about when you want to create a traditional book. Also, if you do decide that you already have a traditional book and you want to convert into an ebook, it's super easy. It's just one click. Okay. And depending on the publisher that you decide to use. One thing to think about when creating a actual traditional book is the marketing and the overhead. A lot of people may not buy physical books anymore. Marketing for it is a little bit different. And then the overhead, you actually have to pay the cost to make the physical book. Paperback is a little bit cheaper than hardcover. However, you also have to think about the kind of paper that you want to use. Will it tear easily? If you have graphics, will they be able to see it? You know, you want to make sure that it's physically appealing. There's a lot that goes into branding a traditional book, because you think about the colors, you think about the emphasis that you put on different things. Also, when someone picks it up, you look at a book, you look at the front, you might look at the back, and make sure that you have the appropriate text features to kind of grasp that person's attention. And when you guys are thinking about the type of publications, think about how you would maybe investigate or try to check out different books. Think about the processes that you go through in order to get new, I would say, literature. How do you look at it? What do you think about? What do you go to first when you pick up a book? And I think that definitely helps when you kind of make that connection of, okay, yes, I am an author, but I'm also a consumer. So, keep that in mind. Don't just go completely with the author mindset, because you might discount a lot of great things if you do. Sometimes when we are creating different things, I've noticed insecurities come out. You start doubting yourself, you start second guessing yourself, because you want it to be perfect. You want it to be this awesome image that you already dreamed about, or you always dreamed about. But what if it already is, and you just continue to doubt yourself? So just push it out there, look at it from a consumer's perspective and a different lens, and, see what happens. So that's it for traditional books. Audiobooks. Audible is really, I would say, revolutionizing maybe how we viewed books. We talk about different kind of learners, different kinds of people who are either visual, they're, auditory learners, or they're kinesthetic learners. And there are a lot of people who, I won't sit down and read a book, but I'll listen to it. And you think about all the times that you might be sitting somewhere listening to an audiobook when you're on the plane, when you are in the car going to work every single day. There's some books, I know there's one book recently that I was like, okay, I'll do an audio subscription for it. And I think it's like 2 hours, or maybe 2 hours. I think it was like 2 hours to finish the entire book, like in one setting. And I was like, well, I could do that, going back and forth to school. I mean, it takes me 30 minutes to get to work, and then it takes me 30 minutes to come back home. So that's half the book done already. And if you think about it that way, you actually have that visibility. You have that, I can actually be, what am I trying to look for? Accessible. You have that accessibility there. So that way, I may not want to sit down and read a book, but I have time to listen. I'll listen to it. You can also create this with the Adobe Creative Cloud, the Premiere Pro. You can do that yourself. Or you guys can pay a narrator to get that done for you. Now, depending on how long your book is, you're going to be then there for the long haul. And it's very important that while you are creating your audiobooks, you're paying attention to your tone of voice. You're understanding that everything has to be consistent. So there's some people who their best strategies or best practices is to kind of record it in at least a chapter or in that one setting, and try to make sure that they continue that on step by step. Because when you get to the point where you're fatigued and you're tired, the reader can hear that. And that may change, that might click it off, especially if it starts to sound monotone. I know you guys have been to different workshops and you've heard monotone speakers, and it's just kind of like, ugh. It's something about it. I love the material, but it's like the tone of voice is just, driving me crazy. But it's great material. But if you're sounding different, or if you are, I don't know, if you change the different dynamics in your sound, it's going to, make that person not think that is as attractive. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, the considerations are just to, think about who your narrator is going to be. If it's going to be you, awesome. If not, then definitely add that as an expense item to creating your audiobook. So moving forward, supplemental resources. These are your notebooks, workbooks, planners, journals, things that go along with your expertise. What does someone else who wants to learn what you do or to acquire a skill that you have, what else do they need in order to get that done? How can you support them? This is, I feel like creating supplemental resources is providing an extension of yourself. So it's asking all the questions that you may have wanted to know during that time. So supplemental resources support productivity. I know when planners come out, I am a planner fiend. I love planners. It's something about them. I love planners, especially those that I can use every day. And people say, oh, I have a planner and it's a daily planner. You probably may open it maybe 3 times a week, some people weekly, to plan, depending on when you plan and how you best plan. But you want something that people, again, accessibility, visibility. I need it. If I'm creating a resource that equals a reference, I'm always going to run and run back to it. You have different books, you have different manuals that you probably used since maybe high school, middle school, college, that are timeless because you always need them. They have good information that you can use no matter where you go. Now, they may be updated. You might have different editions, but that same author is just updating their best practices because you can't go on without it. And when you guys are creating books, and I feel like what I did wrong with mine, my book, full disclosure, is a self-help book, right? And there's certain things that as you're reading it, I should have created a notes section for my readers. I should have used it more as a reference, because there's certain things in the book where you don't have to read the whole book. You can actually just go to certain pages. And, of course, I would love if they read the whole book, but there's certain sections that you can go in and really, receive what you need and then go on about your day. So even after you read the book once over, you can still always go back to that entry that I created. And so in my mind, I feel like now moving forward, as I create, my next publications, I'm definitely going to make sure I keep that resource and reference piece in mind. Now, things to consider in cost, production. The big fancy journals and planners, they're going to be a little costly depending on what you decide to depending on your binding, depending on the kind of paper that you want to use, depending on how big they are. But also you can do digital workbooks, planners, and journals. Google Slides is a great tool in order to create these. Also with PowerPoint, I am a little partial to Teachers Pay Teachers, but that's just a good example of how they're able to create different digital planners and workbooks and journals for everyone to use, especially with COVID changing our new normal. We had to be digital for a little while. So we had to acquire different skills and a new skill set. And so that's something to think about. If you are a professional that's always moving and grooving around, you definitely need something that is easily accessible to you. So I can just go to my phone and open my planner, or open this journal, or do my little journal entry for the day. Or I can go and read a couple more pages of, this particular book and help me gain whatever skill this is. And so, you just want to make sure that no matter what, there's no excuse for your reader not to have your book. Okay. So next one, newsletters and articles. After I graduated with my master's in August, I decided that it was time for me to start publishing newsletters, because I, have earned this or acquired this new expertise, new knowledge about, being in the education realm, and my lens is different, my perspective is different. And so because of that, I created Full Disclosure Teacher Edition, and I started publishing it on LinkedIn. And the great part about newsletters is that it's ongoing. It gives you updates to your target audience. It is something that's accessible no matter what. It's also a resource. People can always go back to that. For example, when newsletters, a good example of newsletters is, let me see, Bath and Body Works. If Bath and Body Works, I don't know if you guys are a fan of Bath and Body Works, or any sales, sometimes they have like different details depending on what it is, about the new product and what they have in it. But if you have that newsletter and you create some kind of coupon or some kind of buy-in or some kind of link, you're going to flag it to make sure that you never forget it. Because that's important. It's a resource at that point, because that newsletter is what you need in order to get some kind of benefit for it. For newsletters, I like them because they're short to the point, and they update your target audience, and they keep the people who really want to be involved. However, you have to find time to dedicate that to that. You have to be consistent. Some newsletters, if you want to do a weekly newsletter, you're like, I can manage that. That's kind of difficult because you have to go through the writing process each time you do that newsletter. For me, it takes about a week for me to actually create a newsletter and give someone something that is actually really, really helpful for them. And we're going to talk about that writing process later, but you do have to take that time to dedicate to it. And you also have to find the appropriate platforms and subject matter. A shameless plug for LinkedIn, but when you create newsletters and articles on LinkedIn, you have a whole, I want to say, audience that you guys can use, your followers, to help you, propel that engagement for your newsletters. And then they also have it to where you can, I guess, be branded by them for their LinkedIn newsletters. I don't know how the algorithm goes or what the requirements are. And I think they keep that to a minimum because they want to make sure that they're getting, the best, because their brand is on the line. When you associate your brand with someone else's brand, you want to make sure that there's no damage there, that you're always surrounding yourself by a good reputation, especially if you're a budding business, a budding author. You need to make sure that you are surrounding yourself by things that are going to propel you forward. One thing about publishing is that there are certain things that you just can't take back. And, we understand that with different causes and, even tweets on Twitter and how detrimental they can be to somebody's brand. People may get over it, but that's still going to be in the back of their mind when they think about your brand. And you don't want that. So please, please, please be cognizant of the platforms and the subject matter that you decide to associate with your newsletters and your articles. Okay. So next, types of publications, we're going to talk about a blog. Blogs are fun. They're least restrictive. They're laissez-faire. They can be a resource using what you do well. And authenticity is just as important as consistency. We don't want anybody that is all smoke and mirrors. We don't want anybody that is not being their true self, because your audience is comprised of real people. You know what I mean? And you need to create content that's going to resonate with them, that will anchor them to your material. And so things to consider when you have your blog are, the traffic to your website or platform, which we're going to talk about, engagement and partnerships, which all goes back to your why. Depending on what you want to do and why you want to do it, depending on why you want to do any kind of publications, I feel like that's going to direct you to what you want to do. And then also who you want to have a part or a hand in helping you, get from point A to point B. So you can scaffold some of these publications. So I could start off with a blog, but that blog could turn into a newsletter. That newsletter could turn into a book, or those articles could turn into a book or an ebook or a supplemental resource. So don't just think that you have to be, one directional or unidirectional. There are a lot of different ways you can go. You can go, like I said, either blog, newsletter, book, or you have a traditional book and then you break it down into a blog, because creating your first book is tough, but then depending on the kind of book that you created, and I know you guys are going to create awesome things, you're going to have to follow up with an even better book, because people are, going to push you, higher and higher and higher. So some people, to make sure that they keep that stress to a minimum, I turn to a newsletter, I turn to a blog instead. And then once I have enough material, maybe I might publish my book, maybe not. So there are different ways that you can go about this. All right. We're also going to talk about creating your own website or your own platform, because social media uses algorithms. Okay. And you have an authentic audience, especially for your personal pages. You have people who are already following you, who already like you, who already know you. There's no need to try to involve other people who really don't have any, what do I want to say? Who don't really have a, I won't say not genuine interest, but you're using people who actually are concerned about you and want to see you all the time and look at your things and are engaged with you daily. You don't want to go outside of that spectrum, because if you do, you're subject to the algorithm of that social media. So what you do with that is, for those people who are already in your circle, who are already following you, who you already have access to, direct them to your website, direct them to your own platform. So that way you become in charge of the traffic. And you have people who are actually going to share your material because it's good, because they already know you, they're already vested in you. So use what you already have to build what you need. All right. So our last type of publication is going to be blogs and podcasts. For this one, it's consistency and subject matter. It's resources, again, equals reference, and then authenticity and partnership. So for me, when I first started writing my book, I was 14. And it really was a means of coping with mental health. So I'm an overcomer of depression and anxiety. See, that's that queen of vulnerability thing, right? I'm telling people who I can't even see about, why, my why, and why I started publishing books. And it just kind of started, unfolding in front of me. And about 2 years ago, I decided that I was going to tell my circle, I guess, my followers on social media about what was going on and blow away all the smoke and mirrors. And they were floored. I want to say maybe about 500 views within, and for me, that was a lot. That's because of my followers, but I had 500 views and I didn't expect any of that. So pretty much 33%, which is unheard of as far as social media is concerned, as far as engagement, people were actually looking at my video and seeing me for what it was. And so I didn't mean for it to turn into a podcast, but when I was able to see different people who I never heard of or knew before at all, commenting on the post or messaging me and saying, hey, thank you for your vulnerability. I thought I was alone. I thought I was doing this, by myself, but thank you for being open and honest and, taking off the mask and the facade and really telling us what's going on with you, because you don't know it, but your actions help liberate other people. They really do. And that's why I say you have to always be grounded in your why, because you may be thinking of a specific impact, and we're going to talk about scaling impact, but your impact that you think may be here, but if you're authentic and you root yourself the right way with the right foundation, it could be bigger and bigger and bigger in ways that you never imagined. So for blogs and podcasts, think about your sponsors. Again, be mindful about who you associate your brand with. Even if even if you're not in publications and you look at this and you're like, maybe this isn't what I want to do, keep in mind, who you associate your brand with. Also, scaling impact. What is your why? What do you want to do? What are you trying to change? What is your why? And if you scale that impact, it'll help you to figure out, okay, where am I going to go with this? Like, why am I doing this? Okay, but what's the end game? Where am I headed? All right. And then also think about the platforms. Again, for this, your blogs and your podcasts, create your own platform. There's nothing wrong with that, and use the audience that you already have. All right, so before we go into the writing process, I kind of wanted to open up to any questions that you guys may have. I tried to, breeze through it as much as possible, but I wanted to make sure that you guys could ask questions if you needed to, and I have the chat box open, or maybe this Q&A thing. Okay. So let me know if you guys have any questions, because we're going to talk about the writing process next. I'll give you guys like 2 minutes, so at 10:40. Kanda, okay. Can I unmute Kanda? Because he has his hand raised. Can I do that? His or her, I'm so sorry. Okay. Yes, what's your question?
Hi, just wanted to see what plugins can we use in WordPress to publish any other books, or podcasts. Which one do you prefer, or which one do you recommend?
So I like to create something. So for me, my preference is Squarespace, just because it kind of lays out everything for you. And then by creating, that particular website, it also can help you track different things. I know WordPress, a lot of people have had to really kind of create a lot of different things. With Squarespace, you have templates that you can use. And if publishing is not your main niche, it's not what you actually do, you need to save as much time as possible, because this is something that you're doing in addition to all your other responsibilities. So I would go with, for me, it's Squarespace. And then from that, I would start creating, I create all of my newsletters on Canva. I like Canva. It gives you everything that you need. And mind you, I do not represent any of these companies, but I like Canva because it can give you, the right format that you need to make it, visually appealing. And then you can either copy and paste that, or, embed those links in there to can even create more traffic. So that way you can make sure that your newsletter, blog, or whatever, what have you is successful. Did I answer your question, Candy?
Yes, thank you. But
no.
you already have a website on WordPress. Is there a way we can, kind of embed it, or how do we, you publish it in Squarespace or in a Canva, or how do we bring it in? Is there any specific plugin we have to use? Or?
No, there's no specific plugin that you have to use at all. I feel like for that one, it's really just you moving it over. So you can either have your PDF and you can save it and embed that there, because Canva has links that you can use. I said, or for me, when I publish my newsletter, although I created in Canva, I usually publish it on LinkedIn. So for me, it's all right, I published it here, but I'm also running people to you're either going to my website and finding my LinkedIn, or you're either going from LinkedIn and finding my website. So either way, I'm getting traffic on two sides. So you don't have to have a specific add-on in order to get that done. You just really just moving your content from one platform to the next.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. Okay. So Janice Little, which platform do you recommend for doing an ebook? All right. So the platform that I recommend for the ebook is going to be, I use Lulu Publishing in order to create my ebook. It's relatively, low, little to any overhead. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But when you sell your ebook, if you're going to use, let's say, for instance, Amazon. With Amazon, you need to make sure that your readers, your circle of people are giving you reviews, so that way it can rank your ebook higher and higher and higher. The higher the ranks, the more publicity that, Amazon's like, hey, this book is doing really good. So we're going to also help boost it to where it can be seen by other people who are not, within your circle. So I think that's about maybe, say about 15-20 reviews, and then that way it'll start boosting it up. Of course, great reviews, but yes. And then from there, you don't have to, I think the key to marketing, and we're going to talk about that as well, is making sure that you don't have that many hands in the pot. You don't want to have a lot of people that are involved with your publishing process, because that takes out more and more and more money from you, from actually being successful. So just, something to think about. All righty. So let's get to y'all's favorite part, the writing process. It's levels to this. So I have put the draft and published in caps, because that's all we think happens when, you do a writing process. You're like, oh, I have to create a draft. So you sit in front of Microsoft Word and go, okay, I got this. And then you type and you erase, and you type and you erase. And before you know it, 2 hours have gone by, and Netflix is telling you, asking you if you want to continue watching because you have been trying this and it just has not worked. So there is a part before the draft, which is important. It's the brainstorming part. Okay, brainstorming can take forever. Brainstorming could be a couple of weeks, depending on if you really have everything that you want to write together. Or brainstorming could just start off with saying, hey, I think I want to write a book. At that point, that's when your brainstorming process has begun. Okay, so contrary to popular belief, our minds don't process things in a linear fashion. So if you find yourself in front of that Microsoft documents or Google Docs and it does not work, and you continue to try to type things out, that's because our mind doesn't work that way. Our mind works like a web. So you're going to have to put out your ideas. So it could be a huge sheet of paper with a bunch of sticky notes. It could be you writing in a lot of different directions. Or it could be, you waking up in the middle of the night and saying, hey, I have an idea, writing it down and then leaving, or going back to sleep and turning it back over. So our minds process and create things similar to that of a mind map. And then we are able to organize our thinking. So brainstorming is just producing ideas, solving problems, and creating content. These are all independent of one another. They can work together, but you might just be producing ideas. And then you might be creating your newsletter or your publication because you see a problem, you see a niche, you see you're trying to fill a void, you're trying to, fill a niche, you're trying to solve a problem, or you just want to create great content. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think one of the best posts that I've ever heard was when I was looking up different blogs before I started everything. And it was like, if you want to create an amazing blog, you need to live a life worth blogging about. And of course, you're like, mind blown, because that's so simple. But, we're going to continue to overthink it and overlook it, because what we think publishing is and what it actually is are two different things. All right. So next, I want to know, what are your brainstorming strategies? How do you brainstorm? Where do you brainstorm? What time of day do you do your best work? All of these matter. You may not be a sit at the desk kind of person. I'm not. I love to have a standing desk. I will be laying on my stomach. I'll be, laying back with my feet in the air, because that's how I work best. If I'm sitting at a desk, I'm going to think it's work, and my mind is just going to close it off slowly. And I end up getting writer's block. Where do you brainstorm best? For me, it's outside. I love being outside. I call myself a garden goddess, but I'm always out in the garden, growing vegetables, growing flowers, plants, you name it, I grow it. And that's just like, my happy place. So you have to figure out where you do your best work, especially when you're writing, because some people may not be great writers. They may have an amazing idea, but you're like, I know what I wanted to say, but I don't really know how to say it. So brainstorming is really stress-free. This is probably like the easiest part, the second easiest part of creating your book. And you're like, no way, yes way, because you're just putting your ideas out there. No pressure, putting ideas out there. And so at some point, you're going to put all your sticky notes together. You're going to create all your notes together. You're going to put it in a pile. And once you put that in a pile, one of the hardest things that you're going to have to do is the done. Create a draft of this book. Most people think it's the first step, like I said before, but it's not. Your draft is just organizing your thoughts. That's it. This is your diamond in the rough. When you write your draft, it's just, hey, I have all these ideas. I brainstorm. Now I'm going to put these sticky notes and I'm going to put them where they belong. And I might type it out in a Google Doc. I might not. I might actually start creating pages. I might actually be able to start creating chapters. And that's cool. It might just be, a couple little piles of sticky notes. It might be a couple little piles of napkins and receipts that you've been writing on. And that's okay. All right. But this is your starting point. Okay. So next, we're going to talk about revision. Now that you know what you want to say, let's say it in a way that anchors the readers to your material, cannot be widely perceived as abrasive, and something you can support. I always like to make sure I'm in the right frame of mind when I'm writing. When I was 14, I started writing my book and almost finished it, but I waited 4 years for me to become 18 because I was a teenager. Teenagers, hormones, everything going on. The world's against me. Oh my God. I didn't want my readers to see that in my writing. So I waited for, myself to mature a little bit more. And as I wrote my second book, I did the same thing. Because when you're writing in that moment, if you decide to publish that out there, you're not really thinking clearly. So you need to make sure that you ground yourself, make sure that you don't have any kind of, you're not in a good headspace. Because like we've seen before, if you act out of anger, if you act and write based on emotion, it doesn't end well at all. And then you end up having to redact something. You end up having to, defend whatever you decided to publish. And some people saying, I was just upset, I was just angry, it's just not enough, because you have your brand on the line. You know what I mean? So you just have to be really cognizant of that. So also the part of revising, this is cleaning it up. So now that you have your piles, now you're actually going to put it together and start cleaning it up. Saying, oh, okay, man, I love this. I love what I said here, but maybe it doesn't go in this book. Maybe I need to put this somewhere else. Or maybe let me see, I can fix it in a different way. And a lot of people think revising is editing, but it's not. Revising is just making sure that you're cleaning up what you're saying. And it's not because you're saying the wrong thing. It's just putting it in a way that people understand it. And that's going to help, really hit home. You want to make sure that your content is going to resonate with readers. Like I said, you want them to use your book, your resource, your newsletter, your article needs to say something that I'm going to talk to my husband about, at night, or my mom about, or my dad, or my sister, even my dog. You want to make sure that you have something that's going to stay on someone's mind. And this is not supposed to add pressure to you. You be you. You be authentic. But, make sure that your words, phrasing it the right way will make it hit home for a lot of different people. Okay. So next up, editing is all about grammar. This is the other half. I call revising and editing the gruesome twosome because it's just like, ugh. But you have to get it done. So it's all about grammar, syntax, flow, insert any English class here, because this is what this is all about, editing, making sure that your periods are where they're supposed to be. You have ellipses where they need to be. I think figuring out the kind of writing that you want to create is super important, because it lets you know what kind of your writing style. Okay. I could be, as a doctoral student, we have to be scholar practitioners. So my academic formal voice is on 24/7 when I'm doing my discussion questions and creating my research posts and all that kind of stuff. But when I am writing my newsletter, it's not all that. It's not tense. And so I had to figure out how to, I feel like code switch between my writing, because I went from being like, some of my newsletters are like super formal, and I'm like, this is not going to be helpful to nobody. Like they're coming here to find some kind of resource, but it sounds so academic. It's like, I don't know if that can relate. And I feel like that could hurt my target audience. So I had to clean it up, and I had to make it more relatable. And once I did that, I feel like people were able to actually understand what I was trying to say and use it as a resource moving forward. One of the new hats that I wear now is I am a project manager, and one of my projects is to create, I want to say, different tips weekly for college readiness mentors. And of course, you know, my demographic is going to be, I feel like, anywhere between 18 to 24. And so creating something academic is not going to hit home with them. They're probably going to be like, feels like school. I'm going to read it, but I'm not really going to understand it. So even though you have good material, if you word it, or your voice, your tone while you're writing is not, does not reflect what you're actually trying to put out there, it could create some dissonance, and the reader may not connect like you want them to. So let's see. Last part, the easiest part and the most anxious part of it is publishing. Clicking that button that says publish now. Liberating experience, also cringeworthy, but one of the easiest things that you're going to do, because at this point you're sharing your expertise and product with the world. And then we're going to discuss our options. So I'll open the floor now for more questions that you guys may have about the writing process, and ask me anything. I'm open book. I'm all ears.
Now, there is a raise hand feature, Amanda. If folks want to use that, we can unmute them and let
Yes.
them share. Yeah. Or just use the chat to let us know. Amanda, did you address the which platform do you recommend for doing an ebook question from Janice already?
Yes, we talked about Lulu Publishing.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, it looks like you guys are good. Up, raised hand.
Got a raised hand there. I'm gonna allow this person to talk. Go ahead, you've got the floor.
Yes, excuse me. This is Joyce, and I'm on the phone, 936-215-4364. You can, yes. My question is, since I'm on the phone, are you going to put this in an email for us?
Of course, I can send the links in. That's Mr. Ravi.
Right. So what will happen
Hello?
here, Janice, is we will have SCORE collect all this, the slide deck and the recording of the presentation. And for those who have registered, SCORE will share that. Keep me honest, Karen, is that what SCORE does usually?
Yeah, let me explain.
Okay.
For presentations like these, we do record them, and we will upload them in a couple of days onto our website. And you could go to houstonscore.org and go to past webinars and look this one up by name. And then you will be able to find it, and you could replay it as many times as you want. We will not be emailing this directly, and Amanda doesn't need to do that. We will have it out here in a few days for our clients to access.
Yes, but I'm just saying the thing she is sending to these people, that they don't have to re-listen to it. They have it in their hand. So that's all I'm asking for. Thank you. I'm going to mute.
What were you
question.
sending to people, Amanda?
I think she means the link to the peer deck. So just the link that I have for the presentation.
Okay, did you
able to access it?
to access the deck only, like if you want to send me a PDF of your deck, then people can reach out to me and I will send that to them.
Okay.
Okay.
And then Amanda, you did clarify in the chat the spelling of the publishing platform. Just go ahead and verbally say it for those who
Oh,
are
yes.
on the call.
It's Lulu Publishing, Lulu. I've been with them for the past 10 years, and they have come a long way from when I first published my book with them. And I remember it like, I think July 16th of 2011. And I published my book. And after I published it, I closed the laptop and I ran up the stairs away because I was just like, wow, okay. So you guys are asking me what I use, and I'm so glad y'all asked, because for my brainstorming, I use Padlet. Padlet is amazing because you can create any kind of Padlet that you guys want. It is free, I think, up to the first 3. I use it as a teacher to engage my students. I also use it for me because in my mind, I have tons of ideas. I'm a think tank. So I'm always thinking of something, working on something. So in Padlet, they have different ways to map out your ideas. So you have the wall, you have the stream. So like you can like add to the different things if you guys work within a group. I definitely recommend using the stream to add kind of like to the feed. You have a grid to arrange things in rows, shelves, canvas. So for me, my brain map is a canvas because when I write things, you can change the background. I don't know why they have the Christmas one out, but yeah, for me, I like the canvas because I can draw whatever I want. You know, I double click it and let's see. Okay, so the reason why I like it is because I can say, okay, if I'm making full disclosure podcast, and then I can create another note over here that might say relationships, and then I could draw an arrow. Is this where I can draw an arrow? I think. Yeah. So then you can connect the post and draw an arrow to it like that. And so for me, that helps me with my thinking. Because like I said, our minds are like maps. So of course, you're not gonna get that done linear. It's not gonna be linear, but it's gonna be like a roadmap. So that's what I use in order to help me out. And if not, then a simpler idea would be to use, what is it? The sticky notes that you find on Microsoft. Those are awesome. I've had lines of sticky notes, copied and pasted and put it in Google Docs. I'm actually working on a new publication called Rooted, Not Rocked. And I've been on a cleanse for the past almost 180 days. So I have, I want to say, maybe 40 more days left. Oh, goodness. Okay. So I started back in December. I'm all excited, bro. But I started back in December. All that to say, I've been documenting my progress from day 1 all the way to today using my Google Docs, because I know that if that was my goal to write my reflections every day, I wasn't going to do that, especially if I had to find the notebook. I was going to leave it home on purpose. So I use Google Docs. So it was with me everywhere. And that's just kind of, you know, how you want your publication to be to the point where no one has any excuse not to have it with them at all times. All right. So let's talk about publishing. All right. So choosing the right platform. You can self-publish, and I told you I recommend Lulu, Lulu, turning your blog into a book or a resource, and being selected by a publishing company. Being selected by a publishing company, it's not as common as it used to be, because now that people can self-publish, now that people, you know, can gain notoriety and use their following and use their expertise to help them, it's not really a need to have a publishing company anymore. The reason why I am kind of not against publishing companies, but I would just kind of leery about them, is because, again, you have a lot of people that are in your money pot. And I have I think I included a picture to show you guys as well. So let me see. Let's see, so I can see that's how I map out all of my ideas, because it's so, you need that extra support. Oh man, I just saw it. Okay, anyway, when you guys are, I'm driving crazy now. I'll find it. So, you want to make sure that when you guys are making money from your book, there's not a lot of money going everywhere else. There's more money coming to you than from other people or for other people. Oh, no problem, Audrey. Okay, so self-publishing. Lulu Press Publishing. One of my friends, Darren Palmer, has a self-published in 30 days company, and he's actually helped a lot of different people. He's willing to work with you as far as payments go. I did not use him, but he and I are great colleagues, and then he's an awesome person. You also have private publishing companies. They do have smaller publishing companies that take care of things in-house. You want to make sure that when you decide wherever you want to publish, the key is marketing. Where can this particular company place my books? Where are they going to, what reach do they have? Okay, I like Lulu, even though, and I'm going to get into it later, even though I don't sell my books through Lulu, and I created my own kind of like bookstore. If you Google my book, Full Disclosure, you're going to find it on Amazon, on Google Books, on, Barnes & Noble, because that's the greatest part about it. Now, if someone purchases from it, we're going to talk about that too. You'll see how the pricing is broken down to where I would only be getting, I think, maybe $5. And if you bought my book on Lulu, it would be about 30 more bucks. So we'll talk about that. I know, mind blown. It wasn't until later on that I figured that out. So transition publishing. When I said you can change your blog or your book into, other resources, I call that transition publishing. So you're gaining a following to fuel your publication. You want people who are going to buy your books. And so you need to use things within your target audience. So for example, if your expertise, for me, teaching, okay, I have parents, students that follow me. I have, other friends of mine that follow me, and look at my progress, outside of the classroom, of course. But you have all those people who know you and who know your expertise, who know, what you're capable of doing, and that kind of speaks for itself. And so you'll have people who want to support you because of this, and you need to use that following, that authentic following, in order to make you more successful. I don't want you guys to be swayed by social media telling you that you have to have millions upon millions or hundreds of thousands of followers. It's all about engagement at the end of the day. Engagement meaning, if I have 2 million followers, but I only have 50 likes, what's the point? Yeah, it's followers, but how many people are actually visiting my page and are actually paying attention? Now, for example, if you take it back to when I told you guys I had 500 views over a post and I only had 1,500 followers, you have everybody looking at your stuff. Not to mention, when I did a book interview in October, I think I maybe had 75 likes, but it had been shared 33 times within, I think 24 hours. And so it's like, I'd rather have that and more people sharing my content. Now, of course, people are going to make memes and they're going to cut it and, place it however they want to place it. So I may not actually, get those different specs from my social media, but at least it's out there. So that way, when, it's all going to end up rooting back to me somehow. But I didn't need thousands of followers to make that impact. Okay. So just kind of keep that in mind. As you transition or as you start your publishing journey, think about what path you're going to choose. Like I said, you might start off with a traditional book and change like me and go to, newsletters. And now I'm creating journals and notebooks and planners. So it just depends. Or you could create a notebook and planner and just say, let me tell people why I did this. Let me give them the backstory. Everybody loves a backstory to kind of understand, more about the author and, who's behind this. Are you just somebody else that's just pushing a book, or do you really have a vested interest in what's going on? All right. So then digital versus print. It's up to you. Whatever you feel like is going to make your book more accessible, then choose wisely. You can create a digital journal. You can create a digital book. You can create a print journal. You can create a print book. It just depends on what you want to do. Now, I will say ebooks are going to save you a whole lot of money, but you also have to make sure that you're going to price it correctly. because it is, little to no overhead. And I use Lulu because I know when I ebook is towards Lulu and I use that, I have access to all of their marketing. Now my ebook is reasonably priced. My ebook I think is about $5. I haven't really, done much with it because I've had a whole lot going on, as you guys can tell. But yeah, I said I like it because now, it's published all over the place. And, I get a chance to get, I think maybe $1 off of that. But if I change it and make it like 10 or 15, then you get more money off of, whatever your purchase is. So that's why we're going to talk about marketing and setting your price. So how will you market? Social media platforms, traffic and engagement. I say create your own bookstore, personally. I say that because if you're going to get traffic and engagement, at least have it, come to you and be your, authentic, and not go back and just count on social media platforms. At any time, social media platforms can change their algorithms, and then bye-bye to your engagement and all the traffic that you did have there. And I've done some research when it comes to, because I was wondering, I was like, man, as a business profile, I don't have as much traffic as, as if I was just, my own personal profile, because they want businesses and people to purchase ads. If you are just you're just doing a regular account, then, you can actually use your authentic followers and it doesn't trigger anything with the algorithm. So, just kind of keep that in mind when it comes to traffic and engagement, and understand that engagement does not mean that you have a whole lot of people that are following you. It's literally people engaging with you, liking your post, commenting on your post, sharing your post. That matters. I'd rather have 2 likes and 100 shares than have 15,000 followers and maybe 100 likes. So you just got to kind of take that into consideration. And what I mean by traffic, I mean people actually visiting your site, clicking on other pages in your site, adding, your book to their cart. That kind of thing matters. And hopefully we can do a follow-up workshop on teaching you guys how, when it comes to selling your book, some kind of tricks of the trade. So what you guys can do in order to get it to where it needs to be. So next up, marketing, like I said, again, authenticity, being cognizant of the social platforms that you use and the algorithms, creating your own platforms, using your platform and expertise. You are your own billboard. We don't give ourselves enough credit, I don't think, because we have the ability to market ourselves. My great grandmother used to say, you wear your character. And my dad always tells me, you wear your character, you wear, who you are, and you are your own brand. So how are you marketing yourself? How are you, showing your belief and your faith in yourself, and, putting yourself out there on a platform that will help you become more successful? Sometimes we overlook our own influence, seeking help and influence from others, when we really, already have what we need inside. Okay. So next, we'll talk about finances, the almighty dollar, setting your publication price, royalties, selling channels, becoming your own bookstore. I have 100% of my royalties, all of them, because I self-publish. If you don't self-publish and you use one of those bigger companies, some of them may give you a book advance, but then you have, a certain quota that you have to meet, and they may own some of your publication. So you have to be very, very careful with that and look at the fine print when you're dealing with other companies. To make my book, sorry guys, it costs $6.40 paperback and $13.20 for the hardcover. And these are all Lulu's prices from when they actually made it. So I charge $15 for my paperback, and I charge $22 for my hardcover. Selling it on Lulu would cost $31.83, including distribution fees. Each channel has its own charges. So Amazon charges something, Barnes & Noble charges something. And so in order to help me sell to my particular, audience, I just created my own bookstore. So at first I had a Shopify, and I put all my books on there, and that was great because they did everything for me. They opened the order. People were able to purchase with Apple Pay, with PayPal. And then I printed out my labels. Everything kind of came, and they charged me once a month. I think the most I ever paid was like $39. No, I paid $39 one time, but then I paid $65 because I had like 30 orders at once. And so I just continued to, have those shipped, printed them all out, got the right packaging. And that's that, because I knew like what I wanted when someone ordered my book. I wanted them to know, yeah, that's the book. I know that that's the book that she sent me is coming. I made sure that I signed it. It was, personalized. It was wrapped well. So that way, it left a lasting impression. So, profits and expenses. So think about what your goal is. For me, I do other things. So writing a book and publishing was like, man, I wrote a book. I wanted to make a difference, but I wasn't like, I want to be a New York Times bestseller. If that happens in the future, awesome. But I just wanted to make sure I got that out because it was more of a commitment to me. But then again, your why might be different from mine. So I set my price so that I can make that profit. But if I sold through my publisher, I would have only made $5. So I'm looking for what I wanted to show you guys, and hopefully it's here. Sample pricing. Okay, there it is. Finally. Oof. All right. Can you guys see this? The sample pricing? Let me see what y'all can see. Okay, y'all can't see that. Okay.
No, not yet.
Huh?
No, we cannot.
No, we're not seeing. Okay,
Now
we
we
go.
see it. Now we see it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so gotcha. All right, so for the sample pricing, this is currently what my paperback, the one that costs $6 to make. Is this it? No, this is currently what my hardcover costs. Sorry. So they give you the minimum cost $13.37 just to break even. Okay, so it costs $31.74. Now let's look at it here. You have $13.37, which is going to be the print cost. Your gross profit might be $18.37, and then Lulu has a share of $3.67, and that's if I marked it up to $31. But if I was to mark it up to, and I had it at $25, it was only going to give me $5 profit. But this is just to kind of show you guys what goes into, them creating your book. Okay. Wait, no, I'm sorry. This is from my hardcover. My hardcover, I only sold that privately as a limited edition. For my paperback, they did take the distribution fees out. So those would have been $9 all the way across. And it would have been $5.70 instead of $14. I was wondering, I was like, why are there no distribution fees? But yeah, so this is just kind of give you guys a breakdown of, what happens and what goes into, when you have other publishers of your books. For some people, this will be fine. But if you don't have any distribution fees and you don't have that marketing piece, you're going to have to do that yourself. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right. So lastly, if you guys want to create your own store, I know I've talked to you guys about that a lot. You have Squarespace, you have Shopify, you have Amazon. Just make sure that you are getting your readers to have reviews. So that could be parents, that you're in a circle saying, hey, purchase my book, say that you're a verified purchaser, and, start making reviews. Everyone has to start somewhere. All right. Until at some point it's, other people who are talking about how amazing your reviews are for your, how amazing your book is, and they're giving you reviews. Also, like I said, use your authentic audience. I use Twitter to market out what I was doing. And I was surprised that my coworkers actually were the ones that also bought my book. And I also had, parents and that have, I guess Googled me. One of my students told me that he Googled me and saw my Facebook, and I was like, oh Lord. But, that was a selling piece. I had no idea. When you have everything out there, what you do, the lines are gonna, they're gonna blur, and the boundary lines are gonna cross a little bit, especially with, COVID, everybody being online and trying to connect in the best ways possible. So those are always just different ways for you guys to market yourselves. All right, so let's close it out. I tried to make sure it wasn't as long-winded and keep it fun and engaging while giving you guys awesome material. But to sum it all up, publishing is very rewarding. I don't regret it whatsoever. It requires you to be anchored in your purpose, rooted in your why. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And you owe it to yourself to share your expertise and experience with the world. Once you leave here, you want to make sure that you leave a legacy behind. You want to plant seeds in order to allow amazing opportunities to blossom and flow for other people. All right. And so, did I answer all of your questions? You guys can go ahead and put that in the chat box or on your Pear Deck. Either one is fine. right. Oh, raised hand. Yes. Let me find it. Okay, go ahead, Miss Joyce.
Thank you so much. I am 74 years old, and I am just so amazed at you. And I have a granddaughter that's writing. She's about 9 in school and just won second place in a history project. And thank you so much. And I do need to leave a legacy. Thank you. I'm so inspired. You have really inspired me. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. No problem. And congratulations to her. Tell her to keep writing and telling her story. It's worth
Thank
hearing.
you.
No problem. Okay. Well, awesome, Janice. I'm so glad that I answered all of your questions. So SCORE is going to, I'm going to send them the links so that way they can also give you guys the links if you ask for them for this peer deck in your Google Classroom. So that way you guys are able to, continue to build and your publishing legacy. So I guess I was supposed to do an exit survey, but I think SCORE is already going to do that.
Yeah, we're gonna do one right now.
Awesome.
I'm gonna launch it, so everybody can go ahead and please complete the survey for us.
And it has truly been a pleasure being your publishing engineer today. I hope you guys answered all the right questions. We got the chat now. You're welcome, Kanda.
Okay. I think everybody. A minute, but I think everybody who wants to vote has already voted. So I'm gonna end.
Carolyn, thank you.
And you, of course, Amanda, you are outstanding. Everybody found your presentation to be outstanding. I myself as well, I would definitely be putting in a phone call to you so that we could talk further on and see what else we can have you do with us here at SCORE. So yes, this was very, very, very good information. It was a packed presentation, and there was lots of gems. So hopefully, and I think people are echoing my thoughts and saying that you did a great job here in the chat. So yes, so thank you. Welcome to SCORE if this is the first time, and maybe you wouldn't be the last. We'll probably see you again doing some other things. So this is great. Yes, let's go ahead and do more questions. Ravi, you could go ahead.
Karen, there is one person who's got their hands raised up, so I'm gonna allow them to talk. Talking is permitted. Go ahead.
I think that was my raised hand from the last time.
Oh yeah, Miss Joyce already spoke. Yeah.
But thank you. I'm looking forward to my emails from you.
Okay. All right. So.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for that. I'll go ahead and take permission here. And yeah, a lot of good comments in the chat box there. So Amanda, that was very good. As everybody said, thanks for sharing the tidbits here of what you've learned, and thanks for passing the knowledge forward. We're extremely proud of you from HCC side that you're giving forward. I like that. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. So Karen, if you've got your hand raised, looks like you're gonna wrap us up.
No, I was trying to lower somebody's hand and ended up raising mine. But
I just want to say, any students on the call from HCC listening in, Amanda is a former student of our college. Would love to invite all of you to join our innovation club. All you have to do is go to our school's student services page and look for Innovation Club, and find our current president is Audrey Mitchell. She can help you learn about the activities at the club, the events that we do, and we have competitions, hackathons, and these type of events where we talk about enrichment and different things, and how can we make an entrepreneur out of you. So believe it or not, sharing your content online is an actual entrepreneurial activity. It allows you to run your own business on the side. So this is the new form of entrepreneurship, not just the traditional bricks and mortar, but there's so many new opportunities available, everything from YouTubing to being an influencer and so forth. So lots of things for us to learn, and Amanda is one example. So thank you so much, Amanda. And Karen, if I'll let you wrap us up.
Okay, everyone, we've pretty much this is awesome. We have come pretty much to the end of the time that we like to be on here at SCORE. We love you guys, definitely love you guys for supporting us. We look forward to you guys making sure that you register to get our newsletter. Make sure you go to houston.score.org and look for upcoming webinars. Sign up for all of them. We try to make different times and we try to fit topics that would fit your schedule. If there's a topic that you really want to hear about and we have not presented that to you as yet, please send it to me. I'm responsible for finding speakers, and it's getting to be a tough job. So now I have to create a lot of content myself. So please save me some time of having to write all these content, and you guys go ahead and send me what you would like to hear us bring to you. If you have presenters that you would like to suggest, we definitely want to vet those people and bring them forward. So go to the website, register for the next ones coming up, which we're booking out May and June already. So we're very excited to keep bringing things to you. And of course, if you need a mentor, you need just somebody to bounce an idea, or you don't have to have a full-fledged mentor. You could just come and see. I just have a couple of questions. I just want to talk to somebody. I just want to need some information. That's what we're here for, and it's free. It is all free. So thank you guys so much. A wonderful morning to you, the rest of the week as well. And, look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Ravi. And we will see you guys soon. Okay? Have a wonderful day. And thanks for coming again.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.